안녕하세요. My name is Irgasheva Lolita, and I'm a chief specialist of the Department of Digital Economy and Service Sector Development at the Ministry of Economic Development and Poverty Reduction of the Republic of Uzbekistan, as well as a Master in Public Administration of Seoul National University. So today in this presentation, I'm going to share my invaluable experience of studying in South Korea, as well as possible implications and opportunities for the Republic of Uzbekistan. This is my table of content. So firstly, I'm going to talk a little bit about SNU and KOICA partnership. Then I will move to program objectives. Afterwards, I will talk about methodology, outcomes, lessons learned, and finally conclusion. So, Korea International Cooperation Agency, which is shortly called KOICA, has been operating a scholarship program for master's courses in partnership with leading universities in South Korea. With a mission to nurture talented students, KOICA has invited high-caliber students from developing countries according to OECD DAC and help them gain professional and systematic knowledge that will play a key role in their home country's development. In collaborative efforts of Graduate School of Public Administration, GSPA, Seoul National University, and KOICA, the program intended to produce future leaders by offering students excellent learning and development opportunities that are closely linked with the government and relevant international institutes and organizations, and to generate innovative ideas that provide answers to the world's most challenging public issues. From 2018 to 2019, I was examining Korean experience at the Graduate School of Public Administration, which is ranked as 14th in the world, in the best university of South Korea, which is ranked as 37th among top universities. The program intended to improve the analytical and managerial skills of mid-level public officials by offering knowledge about personnel management, public organization, diplomacy, statistics, international politics, local government, and policy formulation. In addition, it was supposed to train public administration professionals in order to help them to become agents for development, contributing to the economic and social transformation of their country, region, and the global society. Also, the program was intended to share Korean experience of economic and social development, provide practical knowledge of public management and public sector reforms that accelerated Korea's growth, and ultimately to assist mid-level public officials to promote advancement of their country. Furthermore, the program was intended to facilitate an ongoing dialogue between public officials from Korea and the participating countries. The program has been conducted through indoor lectures and outdoor activities that consisted of 6 modules curriculum and 4 modules special activities. Moreover, the program suggests various opportunities to explore Korean culture through diverse field trips, which combine educational content with team-building activities outside the campus. KOICA has granted us with a number of privileges to visit historic sites, National Assembly, national museums, major landmarks, folk villages, industrial zones for better comprehension of the strategies and processes which have successfully created Korea as a development model transformed from the poorest country to a world's most powerful economy. Furthermore, we were honored to participate in a number of roundtable discussions, conferences and seminars with an engagement of highly qualified international experts. By the end of the program, I had a deep insight into various public policies, reforms and interventions that South Korea implemented to enable the country to develop, moving from aid recipient to a donor country. Also, foreign policies and development initiatives in other countries through interaction with colleagues and lectures, seminars, workshops and roundtable discussions. And certainly, due to this program, I had the chance to accomplish the dissertation devoted to such topic as economic performance of the former Soviet Union countries, the role of the World Trade Organization membership under the supervision and guidance of distinguished professors, as Professor Ko Min-yu, who was my esteemed supervisor, and Professor Dostal, and Professor Chue. So to aforementioned professors, I would like to express my deep gratitude for continuous professional support. This enabled me to research on the relationship between the WTO membership and economic growth for further implications on the Republic of Uzbekistan, having in mind the initiative of its resumption of joining the WTO in 2017. In this regard, the impact of WTO membership on the economic growth of post-Soviet countries is especially relevant for the Republic of Uzbekistan in terms of taking important measures and pursuing appropriate policies for its successful functioning in the World Trade Organization. The recommendations given upon finalization of the thesis were very helpful in the process of elaboration of a roadmap for enhancing interaction of the Republic of Uzbekistan with the WTO. So also constant negotiations on the WTO accession, as well as other bilateral and multilateral negotiations with foreign countries, are a part of my work, and due to this program, I got a comprehension of features of diplomatic protocol and business communication in the framework of international relations, principles and norms of international law relating to international negotiations, the foundations of international diplomacy, and socio-economic instruments of international conflict settlement. Furthermore, I acquired knowledge of the approaches for policy development which should be consistent with such aspects as policy transfer and stages of policy evaluation, as well as its importance, chances to fail during the implementation process, and possible circumstances, challenges of sustainability. And additionally, I got an understanding of such an approach as shift from government to governance, which is implementing transition from hierarchical to more network-based forms of decision-making, and the diffusion of boundaries between private and public actors. So these knowledge are very valuable in my current working process, and while working in the development in the department of the service sector, I take an active and direct part in the development of regulatory legal acts. So one of the recent ones was the draft law of the Republic of Uzbekistan on trade. The necessary conditions we include the introduction of a trading system that meets the requirements of a modern market economy, equal protection of interests of participants in the trading market, the definition of rights and obligations through the legal framework, as well as the creation of a free competitive environment. In the process of developing this draft document, a careful collaboration with the private sector was carried out for better comprehension of their needs and demands, being guided by a bottom-up approach. Also, me and my colleagues applied all the suitable approaches learned from the program, what gave us a big chance for its successful approval by the Parliament, as well as effective functioning afterwards. In addition to aforementioned lessons learned, I would like to talk about one more. So, working in public sector, we cannot underestimate the importance of the most valuable resources we have, human resources, the one that can ensure increased organizational performance. After taking the class of public organization, I realized the importance of using adequate HR policies and practices, and organizations can build a positive work environment that sustains employees' development, encourages communication, innovation, and proactive attitudes and behaviors, which are specific to public institutions and do not seem to be a solution for the private sector. So in this regard, it was highly recommended to our human resource department that the government should take into account main aspects of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation factors in order to contribute to better employee engagement. In addition, Korean practice of work-life balance, which is called warabel, and which is expressed as the balance of work and life, and which is becoming a basic value of human being, was also recommended to include in the internal HR policy formation. A few years ago, in Korea, warabel emerged as a neologism, changing the perception of people's work and keeping their basic rights. Having in mind the growing population of Uzbekistan and the tendency of having 2 or more kids per family, in my point of view, this aspect will be very essential for improvement of civil servants' performance. Taking into account our current situation related to pandemic issues, COVID-19, there is a fact that the service sectors suffered the most during the pandemic, and today the emphasis is placed on the implementation of comprehensive measures for the active development of the digital economy, as well as the widespread introduction of modern information and communication technologies in all sectors and spheres, and primarily in public administration, education, healthcare, and agriculture. In particular, the implementation of over 220 priority projects has begun, providing for the improvement of the e-government system, the further development of the domestic market of software products and information technologies, as well as the organization of IT parks in all regions of the Republic, and the provision of this sector with qualified personnel. So, in order to accelerate the development of the digital industry in the Republic, increase the competitiveness of the national economy, as a chief specialist of the Department of Digital Economy and Service Sector Development, I introduced relevant proposals after examination Korean experience in the sphere of digital economy, emphasizing the importance of high-quality internet connection, high level of literacy, of digital literacy, a significant amount of investment by public institutions and the private sector in education, research institutes, rapid development of telecommunication services, which serve as a prerequisite of effective realization of digital economy in South Korea, a leader country of IT sphere. The electronic government of South Korea today, according to the largest rating agency, is one of the best in the world. And thus, these measures are also effective as well as for decreasing corruption, which is increasingly acknowledged worldwide as a major problem. In this regard, the Presidential Decree number 6079, dated 5th of October this year, adopted this strategy, Digital Uzbekistan 2030, which provides a wide range of activities, such as an increase from 78% to 95% of the level of connection of settlements to the internet, introduction of over 400 information systems, electronic services, and other software products in various spheres of social and economic development of regions. Training of 587,000 people in the basics of computer programming, attracting 500,000 young people. And also it includes introduction of over 280 information systems and software products for the automation of management, production and logistics processes at enterprises of the real sector of the economy. Also, consolidation of universities in the regions to improve digital literacy and skills of local authorities, employees of government, agencies and organizations, providing training in information technology and information security. In addition, in many countries, the service-related sector of the economy has been most severely affected by the quarantine measures imposed by the coronavirus pandemic, which restricted crowds in catering, trade, consumer services, entertainment, recreation, hotel stays, and travel on all types of public transport, including air and rail. In this regard, as a result of the quarantine, a large number of service enterprises have decreased or suspended their activities, which first of all include the restaurant business, retail trade, including in markets, educational services, private medicine, and of course the tourism business, with which the activities of related sectors of the economy, including air and railway carriers, are closely related. It should be noted that the service sector is one of the fastest growing sectors of the economy and makes a significant contribution to the formation of the country's GDP and incomes of the population. The International Labour Organization estimates that a 1% increase in the service industry will reduce the number of poverty of poor people by 1.5%. At the same time, during the quarantine period, additional opportunities were given to such service industries as banking and financial, medical and information and telecommunications. And in Uzbekistan, the service sector accounts for 35% of GDP, and 40% of the employed population works in this sector. And for comparison, the share of the service sector in GDP in Russia is 68%, in Kazakhstan 64%, Belarus 59%, and South Korea 60%. In addition, 75% of new jobs created in South Korea are in the service sector. And during the course of urban government, analysis of regulation of urbanization processes showed that a targeted urbanization policy in the Republic of Korea was due to active industrialization, stimulation of integrated urban development, effective use of existing potential, consistent improvement in the welfare of the population, creation of permanent and sustainable jobs, land reforms, and the creation of a land market. And in many countries of the world, there is a steady trend towards urbanization, which is an important factor in stimulating economic growth and social progress. Thus, utilizing my acquired skills in statistics class, I started analyzing the potential for service development in the regions. And in the service sector, there are large resources for creating jobs not only in the capital, but also in the regions. At the same time, for example, in Namangan, with a population of 700,000 people, there are only 2 dry cleaners, about 50 hairdressing salons, and about 10 computer designers are registered. In a number of districts, the amount of provided household and other paid services is 10–15,000 sums per capita, while in the Republic this figure is 100,000 sums. So in some cities of regional subordination, the indicator of paid services provided does not even reach 5,000 sums. And in several districts of the Fergana Valley, the services of hairdressers and beauty salons per capita did not exceed 1,000 sums. At the same time, there are regions where not a single entrepreneur is registered who would provide services of private medicine, repair of household and electronic appliances, and provide advertising services. So the lack of a sufficient number of service enterprises in districts and cities indicates that there are great opportunities for creating new jobs in this area. And the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan noted that the possibilities of the service sector in Uzbekistan are not fully used. And according to estimations provided by my department, at least 160,000 additional jobs can be created in this sector of the economy. In particular, such services as household appliances, repair, dry cleaning, computer design, accounting, advertising, paid medical services are underdeveloped in the service sector. For example, in the Andijan region, about 18,000 new jobs can be created at the lowest cost. There are resources for creating 10–20,000 new jobs also in Samarkand, Bukhara, Хорезm, and Tashkent regions. Based on the calculations in which I took a direct part in supporting the development of the service sector, $100 million of loans were allocated from the Fund of Reconstruction and Development, which will be distributed among the regions in accordance with identified potential through private and state banks at a loan rate not exceeding 15%. And here you can see the table of resource allocation. So the name of the region, the attached bank, and the amount allocated for each region. And according to our statistic calculations, the service sector share in GDP will grow by 2% in 2021. So here you can see an example of Korea before and after. Korea's journey to the top of the world's high-class economy is unique in speed, complexity, tenacity, and courage. The Second World War and the Korean War that followed it caused serious damage and almost complete destruction to the country. The next decade passed in the regime of a difficult, protracted start. The barometer, GDP per capita, fluctuated between 67 and 87 US dollars. This is approximately the level of the poorest states such as Nigeria, Papua New Guinea. And there was a hunger in the villages. The rice was counted by grains. Those who had an opportunity to have 3 times meal per day were considered simply rich. There was not a single high-rise residential building in the country, and electricity, even in big cities, was supplied on schedule. The main industrial giants of that economy were auto repair and sewing workshops, a couple of cement factories, and a bicycle factory. The country, deprived of the main natural resources, had only one unconditional resource: labor. Cheap, disciplined, but completely unskilled. In this regard, it should be emphasized that education of the population, both within the country and abroad, has become one of the main priorities of the Blue House since the first days of independence, which led today's economy to more than $31,000 per capita. In this regard, the role of public management and public sector reforms cannot be gainsaid. Issues such as economic growth, social development, education, infrastructure development, and protection of environment, private-public partnerships, development programs are core in modern era. Traditional and contemporary factors work symbiotically to accelerate Korea's miraculous economic development and rapid socio-economic transformation. Traditional factors, including prodigious savings, focus on export, investment in human and infrastructure capital, strong macroeconomic policies, and a capable government with a long-term development vision played a role in the transformation of Korea from aid recipient to a donor country within one generation. The program was invaluable in offering practical knowledge on policy, on public policy, as well as training on Korea's experience in development and acquisition of other essential skills. In conclusion, I would like to restate my sincere appreciation to KOICA SNU GSPA Master's Program, which definitely assures in creation of an authoritative, prominent, and distinguished government officials who further become ministers, ambassadors, presidential advisors, deputies, and others who follow the mission to serve national interests of the country. I truly believe that this an exceptional opportunity is a huge investment of time, efforts, hard work into ourselves with the greatest payoff in the future. I highly encourage all exceptional mid-level civil servants who strive for self-improvement and investment into the prosperity of their states to apply to this program. And to finish my presentation, I would like with the words of one wise person who said that at the end of the day, it's not about what you have or what you or even what you have accomplished. It's about what you have done with those accomplishments. It's about who you have lifted up, who you have made better. It's about what you have given back. 감사합니다.